My cousin is infertile, so my aunt is demanding that I hand over my firstborn to her daughter because she is more religious than me and says that I can always have another if I want to. Since I announced the news, my partner and I have been getting a lot of pressure from my aunt to give our daughter to my cousin, who has been struggling with infertility for the past 5 years. My aunt has been a motherly figure to my sister. Since our mother passed away when we were young, we've always been close with our aunt and cousin. We've tried to support my cousin through her struggles with infertility. My aunt is very religious. She's a Mormon who regularly attends church. She has a very narrow view of morality, values, and she believes that a child deserves a strong foundation in religion with a father and a loving mother. Since my partner is not Christian and we both have full-time jobs, she thinks that my child will grow up confused and misguided in our household. Because of our different religious views and the lack of proper care, she says she's worried that our child's well-being won't be a priority in our home and that our daughter could end up going down a bad path. My cousin and her husband are much better equipped to provide a loving home and strong religious values. To give my child a loving home and strong religious values, I've blocked both my aunt and cousin on most forms of communication and moved to a new home where they don't know the address. My partner and I also had a private wedding ceremony, so they can't interfere with my medical decisions. My aunt has been more aggressive recently. She once showed up at my old apartment to argue with me about the situation in a fake pleasant tone. She tried to persuade me to join her at a cafe near her church to talk about the baby, even after I told her there was nothing to discuss and that I was keeping my child. I had to inform I had to hide in the apartment manager's office until she left, which took about half an hour. My aunt has even recruited her church friends, who sometimes send me hostile text messages and voicemails. My cousin, on the other hand, has been quieter toward me, but she is struggling with depression and trauma after losing her baby. She had a stillbirth following preterm labor. She's been posting on social media and joining motherhood-related groups, but I've heard through the grapevine that she's been banned from many of these groups due to harassing young mothers and widows for their babies. She's desperate to fix her situation. She's trying to get a baby by getting pregnant herself. She said she's waiting for me to give birth so she can have my baby, whom she sees as a replacement for her late daughter. My aunt and cousin think I'll be overwhelmed by the responsibilities of motherhood and will ultimately decide to let my cousin adopt my daughter. My aunt has even said that since we are family, it shouldn't be hard for me to give up my baby. She added that I could always have another child later, as I am still young and plan to attend grad school after working for a while. My cousin has expressed a desire to reconnect as we were before my pregnancy. I've decided not to speak with her again until after I give birth. I want to minimize stress during my pregnancy. I was once supportive of her infertility journey and generally liked her more than my aunt. However, her recent behavior has shocked me and made me fear for my safety. I'm planning a big wedding. Next year, we're planning a celebration. This year, my partner and I had a private ceremony. I'm not sure if my cousin and aunt will be invited or even able to attend. I currently have strong family support from both sides. Apart from those close to my aunt and cousin, I'm not sure if that support will remain as strong in a year. I'm not sure what my relationship with them will look like in a year. I've been avoiding family events where I know they'll be present, but I don't want to miss out on gatherings and fun forever. I'm unsure what the future holds with my aunt and cousin after my baby is born, and I'm also concerned about the issues surrounding. Would be really grateful for any support you could provide. Just to give you a quick update on what's been going on. We spoke to the local church leader and discussed the situation with my aunt and cousin, who are both active members. We also told him that my aunt is feeding into these hopes and has been harassing me on her behalf, causing he said he understood my side and acknowledged my cousin's struggles with her inability to have children. He said he'd contact my aunt and cousin to hear their perspectives on the situation. I spoke with him again today and he mentioned that my aunt and cousin would like to speak with me and that they were concerned about my lack of communication with them, especially since I moved away. I explained to him that their behavior regarding my baby had influenced my decisions and pressed him for more details about what they had said. He informed me that my cousin had spoken with the church. I was seeing a therapist and was exploring the possibility of starting a family, as my IVF treatments were unlikely to result in a pregnancy due to my condition. I made sure to emphasize to him that I wasn't giving up my baby and that my cousin was mistakenly believing otherwise. He said he understood and then began asking for personal details. He also wanted to know how I was doing and tried to set up a meeting between me and my aunt and cousin. He suggested I try counseling. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that at the moment. He urged me to at least call my cousin and said he would meet with my aunt on Sunday since I was too scared to handle it. That was the end of our call. I'll post any updates on what he says in the coming days under this post. Edit: I'm not happy with his response and don't appreciate the pressure he's putting on me to reconnect with my aunt and cousin. He says he understands my concerns, but I feel he's being dismissive. He's trying to force us to resolve our issues. My partner and I thought it was worth reaching out to him because of his influence and religious authority over my aunt-in-law. I'll see how the next phone call goes and consider what I can do to make him take my concerns more seriously. Edit: to clarify, I didn't give him any personal information and I don't plan to meet with my aunt and cousin in person. We're in touch with a lawyer and we don't live in Utah. I spoke to the bishop again a week later. He said that there isn't much he can do to resolve the situation within his capacity. I also asked him if he'd met with my aunt. He said he had. Their conversation was apparently focused on my cousin and helping her heal. He told me that my cousin was also grieving the loss of communication with me and my sister, who hasn't been in touch. I also told him that my cousin was trying to take my baby to replace hers. I said that her and my aunt's behavior was threatening the safety and well-being of me and my family. I think he was losing interest in the conversation, so he just told me to do whatever I feel is best for my family. To think about how sad my cousin has been and to get help from family counseling services. My partner and I sent him an email afterwards with a copy to our lawyer to stop talking to him. I decided to unblock my cousin and send her a message. I told her that my partner and I are. I told her that I want to keep our baby and that this is not up for discussion. I encouraged her to seek proper therapy if she hasn't already done so. I also told her that I am not comfortable with her husband or my aunt being involved in my child's life. She hasn't responded yet, but regardless of what she says, our relationship will not return to what it was before. She will not be a part of my child's life. Third update, 5 months later. Here's the update everyone's been waiting for. I've been busy over the last few months with the birth of my baby and projects I've been working on as I recover and take care of my new baby. I logged into Reddit it's been a while since I've had a chance to update you all. My baby is almost 4 months old now and doing really well. She brings us so much joy and I love going on walks with her. She's growing up so fast. I'm planning to go back to work soon and I'm currently looking for a new job. Thanks for your support. I'd like to thank everyone for their concern and well wishes. I hope everyone is having a great time during the Thanksgiving holiday season. Now for the update that everyone has been looking forward to, my cousin and aunt. Since my last update, my cousin and aunt went silent for a while. My cousin didn't respond to my texts in August. My aunt reached out to me in September. She gave me a call on a new number and asked how I was and whether I'd had the baby yet. We had a chat and she was concerned about my and the baby's well-being, especially since I've distanced myself from my family and had to leave my job. I asked about my cousin and she said they've been trying to adopt a baby through there. My cousin and her husband have been trying to adopt a baby through their church, but so far, nothing has been successful. I asked if they had consulted with a proper adoption agency, but my aunt mentioned that my cousin's husband's past might become an issue, which I didn't know about. She then went on a rant about how the white birth rate is dropping and how people are. She also said that my cousin was getting old, even though she's only in her early 30s, and that her nest is still empty. She wanted me to at least share the joy by letting my cousin be involved in my daughter's life and spend time with her. I told her that I didn't think that would be a good idea. I told her it wouldn't be possible because of their past behavior. I'm worried my cousin would try to become her mother and let her delusions take over again. My aunt said my cousin was trying to improve and had received some church counseling. I still told her no. She then asked if I knew of anyone or any resources for adopting a baby. I told her I didn't and advised her to look into it herself. My cousin and her husband should be careful and patient on their journey to parenthood. My aunt said it was important for them to become parents because they deserve children by now, for their own sake and for their reputation, since everyone around them is reaching the parenthood milestone. She also asked about my future. My aunt also asked about my future plans and pushed me to get pregnant again or have my next child. She told me family planning was important, especially after this surprise pregnancy, and asked if they could be involved next time. As the call went on, more of her usual behavior surfaced, and I was getting tired of it. I wanted to end the call, but she ended it first because she had another thing is that I've got my sister to keep me up to speed on what's going on with my aunt, cousin and other family matters related to my old church. Everything my aunt said about my cousin seems to be true, according to my sister. My cousin's overall mental health seems to have improved from its worst point, but she still has deep depressive periods. Sometimes it feels very empty because of her lack of children and her worsening relationships with me, my sister, and her cousin and his wife. They're trying to find an IVF doctor abroad in hopes of a miracle since many of their options are shutting down here. My cousin still views my baby as something she lost, but she believes God will give her children. She's been working on seeking forgiveness for her sins. We're going to be skipping Thanksgiving with my side of the family in a few days, for obvious reasons. I plan to return to the workforce soon, likely after the holidays. I've made all the necessary childcare arrangements with precautions, and the future is looking good overall. Thanks again for your support.